Good evening, everyone. People are still coming in, and we'll get started in just a few minutes. Welcome, everybody, to this celebration in honor of Eric Benjamin, class of 1973. As part of the 55 years of Alumni at Sewanee celebration, I am Barbara Banks, Director of Campus Life, and it is an honor to be here tonight celebrating my colleague, whom I've worked with for 30 years, affectionately known as Mr. B. Mr. B retired as the Director of Multicultural Affairs this summer. Because of COVID-19 pandemic, we were not able to celebrate all he has meant to Sewanee. Eric was a source of encouragement and sage advisor for countless students of color since he inaugurated the position as director in 1981. During this time at Sewanee, Eric co-founded the Sewanee Summer Scholars Program, a bridge program for high school students who spent their summers on the domain, strengthening their skills in math, science, personal development, and writing preparation for college. He also was one of the principal members of the Consortium for High Achievement and Success, an organization that focused on the success of African Americans and Latino males on college campuses. Eric's office has always been open to students, and his home has been the place to be during homecomings. As hundreds of alumni return to see him and Miss Michelle Benjamin and to visit their classmates. Leading us in this celebration tonight, I am honored and proud to introduce two former students who will be our Masters of Ceremony, Rika Dickens, Brandon Irax Edelin. Brandon graduated in 2018, part of Posse 8. At Sewanee, he was a leader in many ways, most exemplary as student body president, and was awarded the prestigious Algernon Sidney Sullivan Medallion for service and leadership. Brandon was also a scholar and writer, majoring in psychology. Since graduating, he has been living in his hometown of Washington, D.C., working at United Philanthropy Forum and Communication and Program Associate. Rika graduated in 2015 and came to Sewanee from Memphis, Tennessee. At Sewanee, Rika was an American Studies major. At Sewanee, she studied with Mr. B and helped plan many of the events we came to enjoy out of the multicultural office. Since graduating, she has been living in Houston, Texas, teaching and serving as a reader interventionist for the Houston Independent School District. Now we have Brandon and Rika to carry us further in this celebration.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Banks, for the introduction, and thanks to everyone who's here tonight. It's much appreciated, very humbling, and I'm honored and excited to be here to celebrate Mr. B, the original GOAT, man, and I'm so grateful for his energy, brilliance, and jokes that always brought more life to my Sewanee experience.
Hey everybody, I'm so excited to be here, as Mr. B has been a mentor and a source of inspiration for me. During my time at Sewanee, his positivity, encouragement, and kindness always gave me the strength to persist. You all are going to hear from a number of speakers tonight: students, current community members, faculty, and staff. These speakers represent a fraction of Mr. B's network and involvement and impact on campus and beyond. We will have some time towards the end to hear from the audience. And please feel free to use the chat. We're all family here and want this time together to be very interactive and show our love for Mr. B. So go ahead and drop your name and class year in the chat. Feel free to greet each other and show some love for Mr. and Mrs. B in the chat.
Great. And as everybody is doing it, spreading the love, we would also like to just go ahead and get started with a video hug from the Honorable Judge Nathaniel Owens, class of 1970, who unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, but he does send his love and his remarks to this video hug, so check it out.
Okay, one sec. I lost it. Oop. Sorry, just trying to get back to it. There it is.
Oh, snap, y'all blowing up the chat.
It's like, okay.
Keep it going. I love it. I love it.
Playing the video.
Eric, prior to being named the Director of Multicultural Affairs at the University of the South, you became a good friend. As our paths crossed in my latter years and your early years there. Warm thoughts of occasionally visiting your parents with you in Atlanta come to mind. Those remembrances of you and your family really got me through some tough times. Thank you so much for such positive experiences. Those trips were your early practices for taking on your future position at the university. You just continued to give into the countless students' lives as you did mine. My prayer for you, Eric, is for the Lord to bless you and keep you, to make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you and give you peace. Be blessed, my brother.
such warm words from the Honorable Judge Owens, and I'm sure that there will be continuing to be more warm words from everybody. Very grateful for the engagement in the chat, with everybody introducing yourselves, and just wanted to take this time, even though things are virtual, it's a really beautiful sight to see this. I haven't seen a lot of people in so long, so
I know. I'm like so
I'm
happy.
glad.
I'm like, hey, everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to now move to Prakash Wright. We are waiting on Vice Chancellor Brigady, who will be with us in a few minutes. But in the meantime, we will introduce Professor Prakash Wright and have a selection from the Sewanee Praise, which was videoed earlier on.
All right. Good evening, everybody, family. See some of y'all in here. It's good to see your faces. I was Eric's colleague from 2011 until his retirement, and would just like to say that the outpouring of support that Eric had for me, welcoming me onto the campus when I first got there, was something that I was very appreciative of, and all the talks we had in his office or at lunch or walking around campus, and just how he constantly reminded me that I wasn't there alone by myself. There were people there who wanted me there, who welcomed me there, and who were supportive of what I could contribute to Sewanee Praise, as well as the University Jazz Ensemble. So I just want to say to Eric, thank you for your support. Thank you for just being present. And thank you for being a member of the choir, at least a few years before your retirement. And it did not go unnoticed. And just wanted to tell you that I was gratefully appreciative of that. So I think they'll play a video from what the choir did last semester. And yeah.
Thanks. I'm going to try to get the screen going. So let's see. There we go. Great.
Yes. And while the music is playing, please add in the chat your favorite memory of Mr. B.
All the glory
All right, thank you so much. Now we will hear from Dr. Stephen Miller, Chair of the Music Department. And I believe this is also a video.
Give me 1 sec. I'll be sharing my screen.
I'm
Don't put-
also loving this chat, y'all. I'm like laughing out loud, but trying to stay on mute because David was trying to come for y'all with spades. I'm just saying.
Hi, my name is Stephen Ray Miller. I teach in the music department and have for more than 20 years now. It is a huge honor for me that Eric Benjamin has been my friend for all of those years. But more important than any personal connection, Eric completely reshaped the way Black music impacts the Sewanee soundscape. Many years, he brought West African dance and drumming ensembles to Sewanee. And I remember several times Convocation Hall full of a thoroughly integrated audience grooving to the impossibly complex rhythms of African master drummers. In celebrating Black culture, Eric was equipping the Sewanee community, at least those of us listening, to be anti-racist, though we didn't really know to use those kinds of terms back then. It was especially with African American music that Eric made his mark on campus. Back in the 1970s, as a student, he was elected to lead the Sewanee Jazz Society, a great group that brought Louis Armstrong, Dave Brubeck, Dizzy Gillespie, and other major jazz artists to campus. Eric was, of course, the first Black president of the Jazz Society. Later, as director of the Multicultural Center, Eric brought many important Black artists to campus, and I've always cherished his support of my dear colleague, Kosh Wright, and his trio. In personal terms, Eric introduced me to major Black singers, including Betty Carter and Nina Simone, and I suppose the latter's Mississippi Goddamn taught me as much about the dangers of living in the South while Black as anything else I've heard. Thinking still more personally, I want to recognize that it was Eric, literally more than anyone else on campus, who made Sewanee feel like a place I could flourish. I arrived here as a non-Southerner, born into a poor and fundamentalist background, and Sewanee did not feel welcoming. But around Eric, discovering with him, attending events he sponsored, and playing IM basketball, I encountered a different side to Sewanee. He was being true to himself and changing students' lives for the better. And he was not afraid to throw his weight around, something I especially felt on the basketball court. Thank you, Eric.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Dr. Miller. Now you knew Mr. B, like he said in the video, you knew he loved him some jazz. Some of us learned a lot about jazz from Mr. B. In the chat, share a memorable lesson or a thing you learned from him.
Next, here to say a few words is star current student Clark Strickland, class of 22 and 55 years of Black History Committee member. Let's give a warm welcome to Clark, everybody.
Hi, Mr. B. Hi, Mrs. Benjamin. I see y'all matchy here tonight. No, I just, Mr. B, I just wanted to thank you on behalf of myself and on behalf of the Sewanee unit of the NAACP. Mr. B, I don't ever think that I will be able to thank you enough for all the kindness that you've shown me these past 2 years. I consider it an honor to have been one of your students and blessed to consider you as a mentor. I will never forget our first encounter. It was the first week of classes and I was heading to the BC. You were either getting off your bike or getting back on it to go home. And I remember thinking like, how is this old man on this bike? But either way, you know, as soon as you saw me, you immediately stopped and you came up to me and you introduced yourself. And when you did that, you told me if I ever needed anything that you would always be available. Your kindness meant the world to me that day. And you've always kept your word on that. When the NAACP needed to get to our state conference, you drove us there 3 hours and back. When I told you I wanted to organize a Black women's luncheon, you were there in full force to advocate for us. When I told you that I and a few other students wanted to learn how to play spades shame-free, you enlisted the help of Mrs. Benjamin. Thank you, Mrs. Benjamin. And we planned a spades night. I say all of this to say that you have always been there, even when you didn't have to be. I am thankful for you and admire you for your leadership and paving the way for students like me. Your journey at Sewanee was not easy, but ultimately you did it for us, your students. I think what I admire most about you, Mr. B, is that you gave us all the things you needed as a student. You gave us mentorship, lasting traditions, and a place to call home. Your determination and kindness has planted the seeds for the next generations of students, especially of those of color, to succeed at Sewanee. While your everyday presence will be missed, your portrait will serve as an everlasting reminder of your kindness on the mountain. Thank you for 40 years of love and dedication. I love you, Mr. B, and I can't wait to safely visit you soon.
Gracias, Mr. B.
Sorry, Rika, we'll keep going. I was just gonna add that video in there because it's fun.
Thank you. All right, now here's to say a few words is Mrs. Dolores Taylor, colleague and longtime friend of Mr. B.
Rika,
Yeah, it's so many people on here. I'm like, where's she at?
yeah, okay, great.
Okay, so I'll keep going. Up next will be Dr. Paige Schneider, professor of politics in the college.
Thanks, Rika. It's good to see everyone. Thanks to all the organizers. I know Eric and Michelle are here somewhere. Hello there. So I'm Paige Schneider and have a joint appointment in the Department of Politics and Women and Gender Studies. And I first worked with Eric back in the early 2000s, shortly after arriving on the mountain. And I was working with him as part of a mentoring program that he had developed that matched faculty mentors with students of color. It was a really successful program. But it was just one of many projects, initiatives, grant-funded programs that Eric either spearheaded or in which he played an instrumental role. And all of these initiatives shared a common purpose, creating a more welcoming and supportive environment so that current and future students of color could both survive and thrive as part of this educational community. So it occurs to me that Sewanee's history is kind of a microcosm of the long civil rights movement. And Eric has been here since about the time that Sewanee began its first really serious attempt to become a better version of itself. And I think like John Lewis, Eric has some battle scars to prove it. Although there may not be physical scars, make no mistake that fighting the good fight sometimes in the face of indifference or slights, both large and small, can exact a heavy toll. But like John Lewis, Eric, you did not quit when you grew weary. You persevered even when you were disheartened or disillusioned, and you kept the faith that one day Sewanee would emerge from this struggle on the right side of history. So your commitment to this place moved Sewanee forward and farther along the path of fulfilling its promise to be a leader among higher education institutions in the South that was reflective of the whole South, not a mythical or imagined one. The students who were your purpose benefited perhaps the most from all of your sacrifices, but all of us owe you a great debt of gratitude for the work that you've done in getting us to where we are today, even though there are still many rivers to cross, in the words of Smokey Robinson. But I want to personally thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that you and Michelle enjoy many days in the sun with your kids and grandkids, doing only the things that you love because you deserve it. And I want you to know that you are missed.
Thank you, Paige, for the warm remarks, and it's great to see your face. So happy to be here. Next up, we would like to introduce our 17th Vice Chancellor of the university and our first Black president. Oh yeah. Former ambassador to the African Union, Dr. Reuben E. Briggedy II.
Good evening, everybody. It's an honor for me to be here virtually with you all. And I was thrilled to have a wonderful tea with Mr. Benjamin at Chen Hall earlier today, in which he dropped some knowledge. And I told him that I will continue to be a receptacle of the wisdom that he will transfer from the ancestors as we continue this journey together here at Sewanee. And as all of you as my witness, I want you to hear this. Clark, I want to have a spades tournament at Chen Hall, when we're able to sort of get back together. And I can talk trash like the rest of them. I can promise you that. Y'all gonna get set when we get ready to go down. But that's not what tonight's about. Tonight is about honoring a truly great man, Eric Benjamin. And if ever there were any doubt about whether or not a life has had meaning, Mr. Benjamin, I hope you know tonight that your life has rippled across the generations and will continue to do so in ways that have yet to be told. As a result of your dedication, your commitment, your perseverance, your courage, and your sense of calling in place. And I am grateful to be amongst so many to be here tonight to honor your contributions. And accordingly, I have a special announcement that I'm honored to make in front of so many Black alumni and students. Mr. Benjamin, the creation of the Black Alumni Network will become a reality soon. And it is due to your work with some key alumni volunteers on the Alumni Executive Board. This network will advance the well-being and long-term success of Black students, Black alumni, and the university by chartering an organization to support students and to share the accumulated wisdom and insight of our community to the benefit of all. And I am pleased to announce to the whole world that the Black Alumni Network will now be called the Benjamin Alumni Network. This is a way to honor your extensive service to all students of color, and I can't think of a more appropriate and fitting way to acknowledge all you have meant to Sewanee. I look forward to the opportunity to get to know all of you better when we're able to gather in person. But for tonight, it's enough to say, Mr. Benjamin, congratulations and thank you.
All right, y'all. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Dr. Briggedy. Mr. B, we can't think of a more befitting name for this network. I'm like super excited about this. Now we're gonna play some video hugs.
Hey, Mr. B.
Hello.
We just wanted to say congratulations on your retirement.
And thank you so much for everything you've done for Sewanee and for us. And we're wishing you nothing but the best.
Miss you.
Miss ya.
Mr. B, thank you. You made Sewanee an incredible place for a lot of people. Homecoming weekend, your house, everybody coming together and reminiscing, sharing old stories, making new friends, sharing a whole bunch of laughs. It's one of the best things Sewanee has to offer. Again, thank you so much for everything you did for this place, making it a great place for people like me, and wish you well in your next endeavors.
Hi, Mr. B. I'm not sure if you remember me, but my name is Angela, and I am a sophomore at Sewanee and part of the OLA organization. I just wanted to send you a virtual hug from myself and to thank you for everything that you've done for OLA and just for organizations on campus for POC. And I just want to say that thank you so much for inviting me to all parties dinner at your house. It was an honor to be there, and it was so welcoming. It was great. I had a marvelous time, and I'm happy to say that I went to a fall party, since unfortunately we won't have any more of those, but thank you for letting me be a part of that, and I wish you the best, and I hope to see you more. I love you, and take care of yourself.
One more.
Greetings, everyone, and hello, Mr. B. Mr. B, I would first like to thank you for a job well done. You truly paved the way for students of color on Sewanee's campus. You've been an excellent mentor, a wonderful resource, and by far, very supportive. I truly appreciate everything you've done, and I wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors in retirement. Thank you again.
So Rika and Brandon, if it's okay, I'm going to go to Mr. and Mrs. B's video. So if you want to introduce that, I'll pull it up.
Sure thing. Now, we will watch a short video interview featuring Mr. and Mrs. Benjamin, created by Darius Swoop, class of 02.
Give me 1 sec, I'm bringing it up.
I saw some people tearing up. It's okay to tear up. We here together.
Go ahead. Okay, here we go.
Somebody pass the tissue box.
It's coming. There we are. Awesome.
Your experience here as a student and things of that nature, because one thing that you share in common with a lot of the students that were here is that you were a student yourself first.
Right, well, that was the #1 asset I possessed when they asked me to come back to work here. And that is I had gone to school here. You know Sewanee, it's a very unique place. And it's helpful to have someone who could explain it to you. Like right now, we have a new vice chancellor. You go up to downstairs and down to up. Now, how long is it going to take him?
Right.
To learn that. And so I had been through all of that. But the most important thing about my experience is I didn't have a whole lot of social life. I was in a fraternity, we drank a little bit of beer. But the bottom line was, I believed I got a really good education.
So when you got here, did you think it would be a long-term thing or just something, I'll be here a couple of years?
It was definitely, I'll be here a couple of years. It's not so much that I'll be here, that I didn't want to be away from Atlanta.
Right.
But a couple of years.
Right.
And of course, over time, I grew to say that you'd have to triple my salary to get me to go back to Atlanta.
African-American Vice Chancellor. Did you envision something of that nature occurring during your tenure here?
I didn't envision it during my tenure, nor for a while after my tenure. I did not expect it to happen in 2020.
What would you want for the current students that are here going forward as your direct day-to-day interaction with them is going to obviously lessen? Not saying that you won't be around, but directly hands-on is involved as much as previous. What would you want for the current climate, current student here?
Well, I would like to see the progress that we initiated continue. I would like to see a focus on financial aid for families who have children who are ready to excel.
Because it's his students. And his family first, but the students was his family.
Right.
I mean that. I mean it. I told him something because he's this photograph and all this portrait, you know. I said, you deserve it. Find me one more, and I can say this because this is what I said. Find me one more Sewanee grad who has committed his life to what he believed. Number one, because he loved Sewanee. Okay? And he wanted the students that he came in contact with, and he wasn't limited to Brown students either, but any student that he came in contact, he wanted to preserve that tradition, and I wish I could remember the term, honor, courage, strength. It all has a place here, and he felt this environment could lead his students through that, so when they left this university, they would have an impact on improving the world. Now that was his mission.
Thank you for the video, Nikki. That video, to me, captures the essence of Mr. and Mrs. Benjamin, you know, from the upbeat background music and just the overall, just, you know, Black excellence and just excellence in general. So I'm very grateful for the both of you. So thank you. Now it's time to hear from the audience. To start, Helen Wanana, class of 2018, has a special poem from the class of 73. She will read that. In the meantime, if you would like to say a few words, raise your hand and we'll call on you. Then you can unmute yourself. So passing it to Helen, thank you.
Good evening. Some of the first class of women, class of 73, wish to honor our classmate, Eric, now Mr. B. Our days on campus, we thought were so rough, but you had the vision and the right stuff. How scary it seemed. We thought were so rough, but you didn't accept. Instead, you dreamed and created your vision, a mountain of kindness, welcoming all. Your contribution unequaled, to put it mildly. It's your reflection, never loud, always kindly. You have recreated Sewanee, now a place that can be proud. For all you have done, and we foresee, will continue forever improving Sewanee. So thank you, Eric. Happy retirement. Susan Crosby, Murray McCullum, Nancy Lamson, Marty Selden Hewitt, Sarah Lou Connor, and Bonnie Bates Dillingham.
Thank you, Helen, so much. That was really touching. Just a reminder, we are not going to have a lot of time, so please try your best to keep your remarks brief, and we may have to cut you off if need be. We won't get to everyone, so please continue to use the chat. We'll save the chat, and Mr. and Mrs. B will get all of you all's notes and hugs and all of that good stuff. To go ahead and to start, I saw Dr. Sam Wilson, sorry I said your name wrong, former Vice Chancellor of the university.
I first met Eric Benjamin 33 years ago when I was interviewed in February 1988 for the position of Vice Chancellor. Later that year, after my arrival at Sewanee, I met Eric again and asked him to serve on my very first university committee, one to explore how to expand our minority student enrollment. He agreed, as he did many times later as well. If our enrollment efforts were initially slow and sometimes disappointing, Eric led others in pressing ahead in a variety of ways. The current success is built upon those efforts. Eric brought 3 essential leadership traits to the job: empathy for his students and their parents and his associates, patience in an institution that changes slowly and where you have to keep pressing, and third, integrity and a lifelong commitment to service, to institution, and to the concept of honor. For more than 50 years, Eric has helped Sewanee and its students and his colleagues in the Sewanee community. With the help of his wife, Michelle, and their family, the name Benjamin enters the ranks of the famous Sewanee names. What a joy to celebrate this moment and to express my personal gratitude for the Benjamin presence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have Everett McCready.
Sending us a heart.
Everett McCready, are you still available? Make sure you are unmuted.
There we go. I'm sorry, I'm a little technology challenged.
You're good. We all family. Take your time. Go ahead.
Hey, as one of the inaugural students of the Department of Minority Student Affairs from the original group, 1981, when there was Saturday classes. I know y'all would never remember this, but we remember it. Saturday classes. So as a member of the 1981 group who came in, I just want to say congratulations on your retirement. You meant a lot to us. We didn't always agree on the things, but hey, look, that's what growth is all about. And so I'm proud to have known you and to know you currently. I've always considered you a friend and a confidant. And on behalf of this first group of students who were part of the Minority Student Affairs Department, I'd like to say congratulations and God bless in your future endeavors. Thank you. I want to be short so others will have an opportunity to say their greetings as well. Thank you so much, Eric. Michelle, it's always been a pleasure of knowing both of them. And I see I'm not the only one. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much. Now, if I can please get someone, if you want to go next, if you could use the reaction icon to like raise your hand, and I can try to, I'll like call on the first hand I see because it's a lot of folks.
Linda Link would like to speak. Her hand is up.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Eric Benjamin in September 2006 sent me a message that said, I look forward to continuing to help Sewanee realize its full potential. And that statement tells me exactly who Eric Benjamin was. He was terrific in everything he undertook for Sewanee. He had a vision for the program that include mentoring that would produce wonderful results in retention of students. He had initiated the Bridge program. He saw that there were students who would find it Sewanee attractive, and he really wanted to do the best for Sewanee that there was. He was constantly telling me, we're going to be more competitive. We're going to increase our enrollment. We're going to do better things. I appreciate every day that I worked with Eric Benjamin, love being on committees with him, having coffee with him. Thanks so much. And especially for those wonderful homecoming parties where I got to see former students, and he and Michelle, it was a homecoming because it was such a wonderful home for everyone together. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Now we will have Tom and Marilyn Phelps.
You okay? I first met Eric 52 years ago. I will never forget my meeting. I was a freshman in the Elliott dorm. He was a sophomore, upperclassman. We had many a midnight discussion, debate. I came in with rose-colored glasses and all kinds of optimism. And Eric broke those glasses up and brought me the great gift of delusionment. I'll never forget him for that. And I owe him a great debt of gratitude for that. And for all the things you've done for us, Eric, and this campus, and for your alma mater. It's hard to think of another person has done more than you. My heart swells every time I see a person of color on this campus, because in 1970, well, you were about it. And I'm so glad. And a lot of this is because of you, my friend. We love you.
We
Carry
love
on.
you, Eric and Michelle.
Thank you all. Also, keep continuing to raise your hands. Y'all do not be shy. Mr. B and Mrs. B wants to hear from all of you all. Next, we have Inez Anders.
She's muted.
Wait.
Unmute, Inez.
And y'all, I'm over here talking. I'm giving y'all everything. Hello. Good evening, everybody. The first memory I have of Mr. B, I started Sewanee the summer before actual freshman year, and my mom and I were standing on the porch of Fulford Hall. Mr. B's office used to be like right over there in the quad, and Mr. B came out of his office. I was like, "Who is this black man rolling up on us on campus?" He's like, "Y'all all right? Y'all good? You need anything?" And that was one of the reasons my mom felt comfortable and safe sending me to Sewanee, right? Because he was like, "Where are we?" And so, but even from then on out, like Mr. B was a safe place for me. I spent almost all my free time in Mr. B's office. I was Mr. B's work study student, got so much wisdom. I was leaving to go home once. Mr. B was like, "You good on money?" This man pulled out his wallet, his own personal wallet, and gave me $20 for gas. Getting emotional, and just amazing impact on my life, and forever grateful for you. Thank you, Mr. B.
Thank you, Inez. Next, we have D'Anthony Allen.
Hey, everybody. I'm in here for a quick moment. I just wanted to say I'm already emotional. Mr. B was just an anchor for myself. I know, just like everyone else, I started Sewanee, I think in 2003, and I was, just a fish out of water, didn't know anyone on campus, and Mr. B just kind of took me in and talked to me about everything from jazz to wild elephants in the safari who needed mentors. And I remember some of those lessons, Mr. B, because, my whole career has been in education since graduating from Sewanee, and I'm a house parent now at an independent school. And much like Mr. B, it's no one on campus of color that looks like myself and my family, but Mr. B has always been there for us, always just been a listening ear, provided so much advice and confidence for me as a young Black male. And I just hope and pray that I can continue to do the same for people that I come in contact with throughout my life as well. So thank you, Mr. B. Thank you, Mrs. Benjamin, for lending your husband to us for so many years. We know that Sewanee is at a much better place because of the investments that your family has made. So just want to say thank you all. The rest of the islands are around, but we'll see you soon.
Thank you. And D. Anthony is also Algernon Sullivan Award winner as well. So, representing. And next we have up is, I believe, Marilyn Smith. I apologize if I mess up your name, but Miranda Smith, you can come on. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great evening. I just wanted to speak briefly. So my first time meeting Mr. B was probably way before anyone else. So I first met Mr. B at a young age of 2. My father taught in the Sewanee Scholars Program as well as the Bridge Program. So I have very early memories of Mr. B. Fast forward 15 years, I attended the Bridge Program myself. Shout out to Isaiah Robinson and Amber Singleton. They were also class of 2011 and Bridge scholars with me as well. Many of my friends know that after college, I always said I was going to come back and take Mr. B's job. So that was my path into higher education. So Mr. B, I just want to say thank you for everything you have done, not only for myself, but the rest of us on campus and the paths you have forged that allow us to follow you along that journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next up, we have Dr. McCardle, former Vice Chancellor.
Thank you, Brandon, and I'll be brief. As I look at so many of these good friends of the university assembled here this evening, several thoughts occur. Christopher Wren, if you would see my work, look around you. Eric, we see your work by looking around us. They're here. And then Henry Adams, who once said, a teacher affects eternity. A teacher never knows where his influence stops or how far that influence extends. I've often been fond of saying that everyone who comes to the university in one way or another is an educator. It's not just the faculty, it's the staff, it's the fellow students, it's the alumni. We're all involved in the enterprise of education and we're never off duty. A teacher affects eternity. I see in these 130 faces before me just what Adams meant. You are the eternity that Eric Benjamin has touched and affected. And you and all of us will be his legacy for many, many years to come. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you. Well said. And next up, we have Dr. Brown Patterson.
Oh, yes. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. This is a wonderful occasion. And I believe John McCardle was exactly right. We're seeing the results of a career that has strengthened Sewanee and made it more diverse. Let me just say that I came here in 1980 to be Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Bob Ayers was the Vice Chancellor, and he said to me, among other things, we need to have more minority students. And I agreed. And so we launched a process of interviewing, selecting, and that's when Eric Benjamin came to us. Now, it wasn't just Eric, it was Michelle, it was their children. Michelle kept us laughing on important occasions. The children would attend. My own children helped to take care of them on occasion. This was a close relationship. Bob Ayers was very happy with what happened. What happened was that we only had one minority student on campus, as I remember, and he was thinking of leaving. But within a few years, we had a whole set of institutions that contributed to make those numbers grow. We had a multicultural center that provided entertainment, lectures, parties, and was attended by people of minority and of other persuasions. And so as a result of all of this, by the time I left the dean's office in 1991, we had a very substantial number of minority students. And I'm very thankful for that and very thankful to Eric and his family.
Thank you. And next up, we have Lauren Newman.
Thanks, Brandon. I know that you're just downstairs, but okay, anyways, Mr. B, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You have touched, I mean, obviously you've touched so many people throughout your years of service to the university. And I just feel so blessed to be one of them. And I just remember my senior year, I was looking for a work study that I could actually, you know, do my homework for. Because I did my fair share of work studies on like the university farm where I was like, you know, working with the goats, working with the chickens. But I was like, I need study time. And I came to you, Mr. B, and I was like, can you help me switch my work study? And the work study office was being really difficult. And they were like, you can't switch your work study. And so you went out of your program budget to make sure that I had a work study and funded me for that entire year. And I'm just so grateful. And don't get me wrong, I still did some work for you. I made some posters and whatnot, but you made that difference for me senior year. And I will never forget that. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. B.
Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate it. Hashtag roommates. Next we have Shamika Jennings.
Hi all, hi Mr. B. I'm gonna try to keep it brief because I'm trying not to get emotional thinking about how much you like really helped me. So I am part of Sewanee's Posse 1. And Posse 1 had a really difficult time on campus, but as many people said, Mr. B in his office created a safe space for me. And I just very much like, I would not have been able to graduate and stay at Sewanee if you weren't there. You really just provided such a support and ear, and I really can't even put it to words like how much your presence meant to me and means to me. Like you served as a mentor for me. You were so gracious, especially like I remember I always bullied you for Crest gift cards, and you always gave them to me. You shouldn't have, but you always made sure that like I was fine and that Posse 1 was taken care of, despite all of the difficulties that we faced trying to be on campus. And it really made the 4 years and like the rest of the posses that came after us just so much better. So I'm just super grateful. So from the bottom of my heart, I didn't think I could let this night go out without me saying something to you. I very much just appreciate you. I love you. I wish you the absolute best.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have Dr. Rena Dotson.
Hello, everyone, and hello to Mr. and Mrs. Benjamin. And I've often spoken about how my journey to the mountain was a complete journey of faith. Unlike many of the rest of you, Mr. Benjamin and I never met before I ever graced the mountaintop. And so it was totally by faith that I got there, but little belongings to me. And just like God provided for Abraham a ram in the bush, he provided Mr. Benjamin for me as a ram in the bush, and I didn't know it. But I thank you for being that presence for me and so many other people on the mountain. I wish you both Godspeed.
Hello. Hello. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
It's Kay McKenzie, former International Student Advisor. My computer is sick and at Office Max. May I say something through the phone?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Eric. Hi, Michelle. I just want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for me personally, in behalf of international students and behalf of the office. You know what burdens you've lifted off me by sharing so much with our students, and that's more than students from Africa, that's more than students from the Caribbean many times. It was for all the students so many times, from acculturation and easing them into, Eric, you remember this, to finding barbers, to use of the Multicultural Center, which you were always so generous with. And Michelle, it was rare, but your vital and important help with me with legal things, as you and I know and have shared a couple of times. From the bottom of my heart, you two, what assets. And I came up here and was really reticent about bringing my son into a very white world. And you were part of what made it so much easier for us. So Eric, to you and Barbara, thank you. You helped the office, you helped our students. You have my eternal gratitude, and good luck. Enjoy Nina Simone as you listen to her. Enjoy your grandchildren. Bless you. God bless you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Now we will have Mrs. Dolores Taylor, who's Mr. B's colleague and longtime friend. Ms. Dolores, are you still on the call?
Yeah, Miss Dolores, come off mute. Okay. You on mute, Miss Dolores?
Am I off now?
Yes, ma'am.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I tried on my phone at first and it was messing up, so I went to my Chromebook. So you can't hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I didn't want to miss this opportunity because Eric and Michelle mean so much to me. When Eric came to Sewanee, I mean, my husband had known him because he had worked at the dining hall for several years. But I remember meeting Michelle and Eric together, and she was pregnant with her youngest son. I mean, with her oldest son, and I just had my youngest son. And Michelle said to me, "You got a football team," because I had 3 boys. Well, guess what? She had 3 boys. But Mr. B and Michelle mean so much to me, and I know all the students I call him Eric. They all loved Eric so much, and the parties that we had at his house and the things he did with the students was amazing. And I just want to say Michelle and Eric are wonderful people. My youngest son stayed more at their house than they did mine, and he was the only one that went to college, and that because of their leadership telling him that he could do anything that he wanted to do. And I just love him so much, and I wish you the best, Eric. Love you.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Uju. I don't know if you can.
I did it.
Yeah. Thanks, Rika. Really appreciate that. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you guys are having a great evening. Hi, Mr. B. Hi, Mrs. Benjamin. I'm just so nervous to just even say anything in front of everyone. Mr. B, you know I've sent you a card and other communications to let you know, but I really wanted to say this to your face. You have been so instrumental to my experience in Sewanee. The first experience I have of even meeting you was with my family, and we were in downtown Sewanee, and you in your car and you rode up. It's like, hey, how y'all doing? You know, if you ever need anything, let us know. And then you speed off, and you know, we were just like, who is that guy? That was so random. But just to have that experience and the comforts with my family, and for them to feel comforted to know that they have someone that will look out for me, it was instrumental, and you've just been the best support ever. You've given me strong talking tos when I needed to, you know, act better and do better, and you've given me motivations when I was sad, and just, you know, encouragement, everything I've done. Your work and just your presence and who you are is just, words can't describe it. And Mrs. Benjamin, you too, the fact that you constantly opened your home every single year for all of us to come back to, that was the one event I always looked forward to at the end of like the year, just to see all the beautiful Black alums back in one place, happy and safe and thriving, and just can let loose. You know, I really do appreciate all that you did, and both of you together, and you will be tremendously missed. Hopefully at some point I get to come visit you all when it's safe, so I can eat some of your good cooking, Ms. Benjamin, and just chat with you all and talk to you all and just like see how y'all been. I love you both, and thank you again so much for all the work that you've done in this community. It's much appreciated.
Thank you, Uju. Now we will hear from Dr. Robin
Gottfried.
Gottfried, sorry.
Dr. Gottfried. Rika, maybe we can go ahead with Rachel Fredericks and then we'll come back.
Rachel, are you still available?
Yes, I'm here. Forgive me, I'm in transit a little bit, but I just felt like I definitely wanted to participate and just give honor to Mr. B. So thank you so much, Mr. B, for your warm home. I remember being locked out of my apartment my first week at Sewanee as a staff member at the Career Center. And it was your comfort and your home that I was able to take refuge in until I found somebody to take me to get my spare key. And so I'm so grateful for you. And now as the interim director of the Multicultural Center, I know I have very, very large shoes to fill. And I just pray that I can continue to bring your legacy forward and do even more as you blaze the trail for me and so many students and faculty and staff that are on this call today. So thank you so much. I really am just so grateful for you.
Next, we will hear from Curtis Johnson.
Mr. B, hey, what's going on? Hey, Mrs. Benjamin, nice to see y'all. Y'all look great. It's been some time. I'll try to be short, man. Everybody got me all emotional and stuff. Man, Rika just called me out. So anyway, from really my earliest time of arriving to campus, you've been instrumental from, me serving as your work study. And from doing the work as a student to then becoming a colleague and friend, your mentorship has really extended to impact me daily. I carry your spirit with me daily in the work that I do at my school. And so there aren't any words to really encapsulate what you mean to me, what you mean to Sewanee. And we hope that, your legacy with the naming, of the Benjamin Network, it will continue. So forever indebted to you and your work.
Thank you, Curtis. Now we'll hear from Joseph Land.
Mr. Benjamin, I tell you on a regular basis how much I appreciate you. And Mrs. Benjamin, you know that as well. I see you probably as often as anyone who doesn't live at Sewanee does. But I also want to tell you that I appreciate the fact that you allowed, your family was so integral to the university experience that now I'm friends with your kids as well. Like I'm friends with you, I'm friends with your wife, I'm friends with your children. And that's a big deal. Like that says a lot. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Joseph. Did anybody else have their hand raised? Feel free to come off mute because I'm not able to see everybody's hand the way my screen is positioned. Anybody else want to speak?
Hey, Rika, can I say something?
Yes, go ahead. Hey.
Hey, thank you. So this is Eric Hartman, and while people often would mistake Eric's for Eric's, it didn't take very long for them to figure out which one was which. But Eric, your whole family has meant the world to my family, and so Miss B, you've been as much of a support system for our students in this community as anyone, and the sacrifice that your family makes in letting Eric spend so much time with this larger family that you get to see on the screen is really, it's a profound recognition that whether we called it the Benjamin Network or not, it was always going to be that. Because that is the legacy that was left. And it's not just a legacy for their students, but it's also, it's a legacy for me and for so many staff that came in and had the privilege of working with Mr. Benjamin and having that influence be part of our life too. He's a major part of why I stayed for as long as I did, and recognizes that the lessons that I learned in those relationships. And before there was a Posse Plus retreat, there was the diversity retreat that we did at Tim's Ford with Sid Brown and Spaccarelli and Eric Benjamin, and really that was the start of trying to begin to have conversations that made space for Sewanee to change. And we've always made that space. And so it's a privilege to get to see you there together, sitting in that house that we all know so well, and to see your children on here that really get to witness what so many kids don't get to witness about their parents. And that is the lasting impact that you've had on so many people's lives. And I would put mine at the front of that. So just thank you for your contribution. And it's a privilege to get to see this testimony to you today.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Clarence Mitchell. I think I saw you off of mute. Would you like to speak?
Oh yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Man, there just really are no words to express the gratitude and what I felt from Mr. B being up there. I came out of Atlanta and it was a cultural shock for me being up there. I was so frustrated, but Mr. B's office was always a great safe haven for us as students, and it was also a place where I could also observe students that were older than me and commune with some of my other fellow students. And I'm so thankful that he had that. He was very instrumental just toward my artwork as well too. He took a liking to my work and asked me to speak at different events and things and to present my work, and it just gave me a lot of confidence as a Black man. And just looking at him, it was almost like having a father. It was definitely a father figure away from home, but I'm just so thankful for having him as a role model because it showed me a different image of how you can survive in the dominant society as a Black man and how to be able to conduct yourself in a way without ever compromising your integrity or our ideals. And I just think that we need more men like him in this life and in this world. And it's really sparked an interest in me to want to do more community. So I'm just so thankful for that. I know that, I've hung out and talked with all of his sons. I got a good relationship with them, and just hearing stories of the sacrifices he's made for students. I know that his family gave up a lot for us to be able to have him. And I'm thankful for those guys as well too for that. I really want to thank you guys as well. But yeah, I could go on forever. There's a lot of stories that I would love to tell that are just really personal to me, but I just what I saw him do for other people as well too. It was amazing. It's almost like watching a mythical being, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic at all. I've never met another person like Mr. Newman. So.
Thank you so much, Clarence. Now to close us out for this section, we're going to take one more. Eunice, if you're still available, can you go ahead and come off mute, please, and share? And then we have to move on. But thank you all so much for participating.
Yeah, I really just want to take the time to echo what everyone has said, but I really want to say thank you, Mr. B. You were very instrumental when we were creating Black Queen. And I will shout out to you allowing us to be financially empowered. I think that's that's where I'm going with, because I think the idea of having an affiliated group at Sewanee was rare. So in terms of getting funding, it was hard to think about it, but you found a way to help us get the money that we needed to create this brave space where Black women could come in and unite. And so really thank you so much for always being our champion. But yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Eunice. Thank you, everybody who's spoken and also responded in the chat. Now we will hear from Susan Askew, Associate Vice President of Alumni Relations, read a resolution on behalf of the university.
Thank you, Rika and Brandon. Y'all have just done a fantastic job tonight. And it's a fantastic celebration for a wonderful man. And as the alumni director, it just warms my heart so much to see all these alumni and to hear all these wonderful stories. And I think it's safe to say that everyone is as happy as I am that the Benjamins are still going to be around in Sewanee. And so that's just really fun. But so it's a privilege for me tonight to read a resolution on in your honor, Eric. So I'm going to share my screen so you all can follow along. Here we go. On the occasion of the retirement of Eric Benjamin from the University of the South, it is appropriate that we commend and pay tribute to him on this Memorial Day, Thursday, February 25th, 2021. Whereas Eric Benjamin served the University of the South as a faithful and devoted employee for 39 years as the first director of multicultural affairs. And whereas his genuine concern for others and for this place has deeply touched countless students, alumni, colleagues, and community members. And whereas through his highly capable and devoted service as an ambassador for the university, he nurtured and strengthened the ties among Sewanee students and in so doing fostered enormous goodwill for the university in a way that is inspiring, unique, and unmatched. And whereas it is equally important to acknowledge Eric's humble acts of service, personally helping students through financial or logistical needs, never seeking recognition. And whereas he performed his duties with steadfast loyalty and dedication, he demonstrated his commitment and love for this university through dedicated service to 4 vice chancellors. And whereas Eric and his wife, Michelle, have welcomed countless alumni to their home for the traditional Mr. B party at homecoming and reunion weekends, where Mrs. B, an attorney by day, caused party guests to fight over her famous wings. And whereas as a student of the college class of 1973, Eric distinguished himself as an English major, a member of the Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity, and was elected as president of the Sewanee Jazz Society. And whereas also as a student, Eric was elected as the chair of the Honor Council in 1972, the first Black student to be elected to one of the 3 main student organizations on campus. And whereas during his time at Sewanee, Eric co-founded the Sewanee Summer Scholars Program, a bridge program for high school students their summers on the domain, strengthening their skills in math, science, personal development, and writing in preparation for college, and was also one of the principal members of the Consortium for High Achievement and Success, an organization that focused on the success of African American and Latino males on college campuses. Whereas with his wife, Michelle, became a proud Sewanee parent when son Michael matriculated with the class of 2008. Now, therefore, be it resolved that all those associated with the University of the South express their profound gratitude for his outstanding service, his devotion to students, and his loyalty to the university, and wish him Godspeed and best wishes.
That was great. Thank you so much, Susan. And now, for the moment you all been waiting for, to hear it from the GOAT himself, we will conclude the evening from hearing from Mr. B.
Am I good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
To say I'm overwhelmed is, a huge understatement. But I'd like to begin by recognizing a group that did not graduate from Sewanee in the early 60s. Several students came to the domain, Black students, at the height of the civil rights movement. There may have been crosses burned on lawns. My freshman year, I recall hearing about cocktail parties after Martin Luther King's death. And so those individuals need to be recognized. They were the true for runners. Now, the person that had the biggest impact on my life was Judge Owens. I took a Greyhound bus to Sewanee to take a look, and I met him at the Lambda Chi House. But he was not just a student. He was an All-American football player. He graduated with honors, actually was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. And he gave me the power to see that I could do it. Now, I was not the man that he was, but I want to recognize him. The first student, the student who took a ride with my wife and I during my interview, as Dean Brown mentioned, was Cletus Headley from Barbados. And he said, Mr. B, they told me I can't write. He now has a PhD and I can't read it. It was so beautiful and so long. All right, so my Nathaniel was the monster mentor. Okay, so if you want to know who the mentor of the mentor was, it was Nathaniel. We are all older and wiser. We also have classmates who are on the other side, and we must take a second to commemorate them because they were part of the process. All along, my goal was to make space for students to grow and succeed. That happened, and I am forever grateful. I want to recognize Doug Siders and Mary Priestley as key components of successful bridge programs. Doug Siders and I worked for 2 years to get the program on its feet. And we had lots of fun with students. We actually opened up Chattanooga, and I knew we had really done our job well when I was driving through public housing one day, and I saw an old man sitting on the porch with a Sewanee Summer Scholar shirt on. And I said, boy, we penetrated, and we had students who came and succeeded, and I'm forever grateful. Now, the faculty was the key to the process. I know a lot of schools where students worked hard and never received the proper credit for their work. But at Sewanee, I always said, if you do the work, you will get the credit. And that is true. And our students did the work, they got gowns, they won awards, they internships, and so that was forever something that I'll remember. Now, the goal was to teach students to write well and to think critically. And if you were here, you learned how to write well, and you had to think critically. And I'm certain that is coming in handy in spades wherever you are now. Again, not only did students come and survive, but they competed at the highest levels. Okay, my first two gownsmen were young ladies from Memphis. And once they got their gowns, everybody realized that they could do it too. So I'm forever grateful to Patricia and Quisha. And then now, when they came to the meeting about the attending Sewanee, they said, we'll never come here. And then they cried on the way off campus and they came, you know, and so it worked. Okay, I'm gonna be through in just a second. We are all proud. This event took great planning. Superstar Clark Strickland, presently a Truman Scholar candidate. I'd never heard of Truman Scholars, but she is a candidate and the university has put her forward, and I do believe that she's gonna win, so let's cheer her on. Nikki Hamilton has worked day and night on this now. I met Nikki shortly after she arrived from South Africa, and we've been close ever since. And my job with Nikki was to explain civil rights, because she never understood that, and she does understand it now, you know. And we had fun. Joe Land, he's just a dear friend to everyone, and he's been behind the scenes making all of this happen. So Joe, we appreciate you. And of course, and all the other students. Okay, my children and my wife, I thank them for supporting me. My wife says I love the students more than I loved her, you know, and so that's not true, you know, but we did absolutely love the student. Yes, I did meet with Vice Chancellor Biggity this morning. He's been through some tough times, and I let him know that he had my support absolutely and my heart. Okay, and so if I can ask you all to get behind him and help him in any way we can. Finally, I'd like to thank my parents who struggled to pay the tuition. Okay, my mother was a registered nurse at Grady Hospital, and my father worked at Lockheed Aircraft. And I saw how much money they made. It shocked me. It was so little. Okay, but they sacrificed and made it possible for me to come to Sewanee. And I have to call the name Elizabeth Chitty, the wife of Arthur Ben Chitty, the university historian, who actually sent a student to my house in Atlanta to recruit me to come up on that Greyhound bus. Okay, I want us to all look forward to a bright future and a wonderful progress for Sewanee. These are tough times. We've got COVID, we've got other issues, and I'm certain that Dr. Biggity, Vice Chancellor Biggity, is going to lead us where we need to go. And so I don't know how long we've been on this thing, but it's been more than worth it. And thank you to everyone for all the kind words. And I want to thank my wife. My children and all my students who served as an extended family and absolute examples to my three boys. And my friends, and anybody that I haven't mentioned, that I should have mentioned, you were included too. All right, so Brandon, it's absolutely good to see you. Rika, you know, you know, okay. And so again, I can't call everybody's name, but thank you, and particularly to the vice chancellors, okay, who made it all possible. Okay, Dr. McCardle was the one who opened his home to the Black Queens. All right, and again, thank you, and you all have a wonderful evening, and we will meet again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Well, thank you, Mr. B, for speaking. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Mr. and Mrs. B, the love in this room tonight is only just a small token of the love and support you gave all of us during your time here. Thank you all of you who are here with us tonight, our guest speakers, 55 Years Committee, Susan Askew, Barbara Banks, Nikki Hamilton, Clark Strickland, and Helen Wainana for putting on this event together. And Mr. B, from my heart, I appreciate you and I love you. And I know I'm not alone when I say I love you, man. Thank you so much. And good night, EQB. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate y'all.
Good night, y'all. Love y'all. Take care.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nikki. Thank you, Eric and Michelle.
Thank you. We love you, Mr. B.
Bye. Okay, love you all. Okay.
Eric, all the best from the class of 73.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mommy.
Hey,
Hey, babies.
Yay. This is Dermel, Mr. B. How are
Hey,
you?
Mel. Thank you for your great singing.
Thank you. Anytime. Stop.
Appreciate
Anytime. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.